Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. When it comes to building a sturdy structure, one that's more energy efficient than wood or steel, get to A.G. Hines Company and ask them about Nudura insulated concrete forms. They look great and they're easy to use. Just one of the many cutting-edge building products you will find at A.G. Hines Company. All right. Time for Wave 2. We still have one more person waiting in the wings, a special guest. Well, he's not that special, but he's waiting. Right over here, Bob Hodge. Right here, Josh Ward. New to our show, VFL Kevin Simon, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Right next to you, Sterling Hinton. Sterling, thank you, buddy.
That'll be a job.
You didn't have to bring an emotional support dog with you today? All right. Let's start by talking about worst coaching moves. And Kevin, your background, you were a scout in the NFL for several years. You've been working over there in the Tennessee football program in the past under Pruitt, under Heupel. So you got a little bit of knowledge here, just a tad more than the rest of us. So let me ask you this. What was the worst coaching move you saw yesterday?
So as the second half is running down and we have an opportunity to score, the thing that I can't help to think about is the middle eight. And the middle eight is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. Knowing that we're getting the ball back to start the second half, I was just surprised that we were running the ball instead of really trying to take our shots down the field like we did on our first possession when we scored the quick touchdown, right? We got a stack switch release by Squirrel, rub route, get him open, and then throw the fade ball to Ramel, touchdown Tennessee. So when you're down 3 scores like we were, 26-7, just in my mind, it's like, all right, well, if we can go down and score here before the half and then come back and score with this next possession, we're right back in this ball game, 26-21. There's about 1.6 minutes left on the clock, and it's tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right? And then they finally called timeout with 35 seconds, and it just felt like it was an opportunity squandered to where we could go win the football game.
I was on the phone with someone who's going to agree heartily with that. Bob Hodge, I take it you agree?
I tell you what, I was really hoping nobody else noticed. But because it literally we weren't talking on the phone at that time. You were hearing me actually scream from my house.
Yeah.
I just thought that showed me that you don't have enough confidence in your offense to run it, to get down there and get points. Touchdown, great. Field goal, good. And you get the ball coming out of the second half. But to not use that timeout that you talked about, Kevin, with 1.6 minutes to go, I just thought they're not trying. They are not trying to get points. I don't understand that. Even if you don't trust your offensive line, you don't trust your quarterback, whatever, you were not even trying.
And it was out of character for them and what we saw from them last year.
We've seen them with less than 20 seconds say, okay, let's take our shot. We can go score still.
Absolutely.
The only thing I can think of is, well, maybe they just want to lick their wounds and come back at halftime, assess where they had to go. But again, as I think we all agree, that was a squandered opportunity. Yeah. You don't win the first half, but if you can win the middle eight, we got a chance to win this football game.
Sterling, you got a bad coaching move? Worst coaching move?
My thing is I wish we'd attacked the middle of the field a little more. The middle of the field was gaping in some situations. I'm certain they saw it. I'm not certain what the game plan was, but I thought we could have made an adjustment. I think that's where the players come in. I don't know if it's really the coach. I think players, you see certain things that you feel during the course of a game that, you put your teammates in position to take advantage of. And I wish that some things like that would have happened.
Okay, Josh, you got a worst coaching move?
So I would like to be on the middle eight list.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'll go with one that didn't have an effect on the result of the game. That's the timeout with less than 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's recognizing the situation. You're losing by 2 scores at Florida. It's time to go home. So instead, you call a timeout where everybody has to wait. We see Cooper Mays go back to the tunnel. He has to come back. And then players are just hanging out on the field. You have the hit on Mertz, the pushing and shoving and squaring up afterward. That didn't affect the game, the result, but it could affect them moving forward. There could be suspensions for the next game.
Let me go ahead and put up a graphic here that goes with that, as a matter of fact, if we've got it. There we go. There was a lot of reaction to that timeout last night. Matter of fact, a television guy down at WESH in Orlando caught Josh Heupel apologizing to Billy Napier as they came off the field about the end of the game there. And Napier said, don't worry about it. college football tweet says, very odd timeout from Josh Heupel leads to the entire Florida team getting the chance to wave goodbye, a humiliating ending to a frustrating night for the Vols on many fronts. Jason Whitlock chimed in, this is the dumbest thing I've ever witnessed. I blame Heupel for taking the timeout, just stupid. After the game, Josh Heupel was asked about it. He said, that sequence right there, we're trying to get the ball back. We're trying to take a shot at the end zone. I don't know if you're going to have enough time at an onside kick and maybe get a shot back. You're trying to finish and compete the right way. That sounds good, but that would mean running a play for a touchdown, kicking an onside kick, then running another play for another touchdown in 7 seconds. That cannot happen. I agree with Josh. I thought that was just silly. There's a time to know we're just going to blow. We're running the chance of blowing out one of our kids' knees out here when we're out of the game. All right, next question. This should be very quick, I think. Who's the best player on the field? It wasn't in an orange and white uniform. It was Trevor Etienne, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you somebody who, and I can't think of his
23
name.
for
I had it written down
172.
at home, and I left it at home. The center for Florida, who just came back from an injury.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the
good
guy
player.
that's probably
Yeah.
making those offensive line calls, and I thought they did a fantastic job, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I just felt like you can't tell the story of Tennessee, Florida 23 without talking about Travis Etienne, right? 23 carries, 172 yards. You know the 62-yard romp. You know where we could have
great tackle.
We could have tackled a heck of a lot
That's
better.
the way you tackled out there, wasn't it? As a former linebacker.
if I did, I heard about it. but they had a plan going into the game that we're going to put the game on this guy's shoulders.
Yeah.
And man, and he did what he needed to do. He was averaging 9.7 yards in the first half, and then helped him salt the game away in the second half. I mean, obviously, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah. And the last thing, I just want to throw this out there. We don't talk about refs on this show because both teams complain about refs. It all comes out in the wash over the course of the season. We met this week, and I told you, what's your take on refs? I said, I can't control it. I don't want to talk about it. I said, we're going to fit in great. And now I'm going to talk about the refs. Only because I know it's going to be a huge topic today because there were 4 calls, I thought, that didn't go your way. You had 2 potential interference calls you didn't get. You had a blindside block that was pretty ticky-tack, I felt. And then the ref inadvertently kicks the ball, which leads to them allowing Florida to substitute on a key 4th down. That didn't look good. It certainly didn't help the cause. I don't think if you reverse those calls, I still think you did everything in your own power to lose that game. I don't think the refs were the reason you lost. Does anybody disagree with that?
I do. I think that. I'm going to go back to the first question, John P., about the coaching move. Let me should took a technical foul right there. It got in the ref's case, baby. Take a tech.
Actually, I told Bob
Yeah, you did.
that is a place where I would have liked to have seen Josh Heupel
Go get him, man.
lose his crap a little bit.
Let Eckler loose on him on that point right there. Go get him, because those calls were pivotal. I mean, they don't total outcome of the game, but those are times when refs, they expected them to perform to a level also. And I think they did.
Agreed.
On the substitution, Tennessee's players appeared to be confused too because the ref didn't stand over the ball. Yeah. He reset and stepped back. Florida chose to sub. If Tennessee set, which again, it's a confusing situation, they could have snapped the ball and gotten an automatic first down.
That play though was horrible too. It looked like they thought the play was blown dead. The way Milton just took it and stood there for a second. He's like, "Oh, we're running this here."
It was a confusing sequence caused by the ref kicking the ball.
All right, when we come back, Mike Stoll and 3 other VFLs are going to talk about the offensive line. And you heard Mike earlier. I thought he was going to do as I told you so in this segment. He's already done it. He'll get it in another one in this segment. Let's talk about the offensive line. What impact might that have for the few of you out there who are already chanting for Nico? Does the offensive line situation play into that at all? Come on back.